Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're kicking off what's basically your ultimate training simulation to totally crush the CompTIA A Plus Core 1 exam. You know, the clock is ticking, the pressure's on, and the exam room is practically calling your name. We're going to break down virtualization, decode the cloud, and really master the exact troubleshooting logic you need to just instantly eliminate wrong answers on test day. Let's get right into it.
Picture this scenario for a second. You walk up, turn on a PC. The screen is completely blank, and you hear a series of 3 beeps. What's your absolute first step? It's a classic CompTIA exam question, and honestly, it trips up thousands of test takers. But by the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to decipher these clues, dodge those common traps, and confidently pick the best answer every single time.
All right, before you touch a single cable, you have to memorize CompTIA's 6-step troubleshooting methodology. Seriously, this is your ultimate compass. Step 1, always identify the problem. Step 2, establish a theory of probable cause. And hey, a quick tip here. Always question the obvious. Assuming a massive motherboard failure without checking if the monitor's actually plugged in, that's going to waste hours of your time. From there, you test the theory, implement a plan, verify full functionality, and finally, document your findings. Oh, and here's a massive exam clue to keep in your back pocket. Always consider corporate policies and impacts before you actually change anything.
Okay, so let's talk about client-side virtualization. To put it simply, a virtual machine, or a VM, is really just a virtual PC running inside your physical PC. It's like a computer inside a computer. It's absolutely perfect for sandboxing, safely testing new software, or running older legacy apps. But for the exam, what you absolutely must memorize are the resource requirements. See, a VM relies on sharing resources with the host machine, so a fast multi-core processor and plenty of RAM are absolutely crucial. If an exam question asks why a host machine is suddenly lagging hard after booting up 3 VMs, boom, the answer is always resource starvation. Your CPU and RAM are just completely maxed out. Now, to actually run those VMs, you need something called a hypervisor, which is basically the virtual machine manager. There are 2 types, and you got to know the difference. Type 1 is bare metal. It runs natively, right on the host hardware, which makes it lightning fast. We're talking enterprise tools here like ESXi or KVM, which by the way stands for kernel-based virtual machine. Then you've got Type 2, or hosted. This one runs on top of your existing operating system, so it's one step removed from the hardware. VirtualBox and VMware Player, those are your classic Type 2s. A super common exam trap is confusing the two, so just remember, Type 1 is always the best answer for enterprise servers. This gives you a great real-world picture of what Type 2 hypervisors look like right on a client desktop. We've got Hyper-V managing an Ubuntu Linux VM and VMware Workstation running a Windows 10 VM. As a help desk hero, you'll use this setup all the time. It lets you safely test a brand new operating system or maybe open a suspicious file in a secure, sandboxed environment, all without risking your main computer. It's a real lifesaver.
All right, now that we've got virtual servers down, let's decode the cloud. You need to recognize 3 main service models, and honestly, it's kind of like renting a vehicle. IaaS, or Infrastructure as a Service, gives you the raw virtual servers and storage, but you're the one who still has to manage the OS yourself. PaaS, Platform as a Service, provides the whole development environment. It's perfect for programmers who just want to write code without the headache of managing servers. And then there's SaaS, Software as a Service. This means the provider handles absolutely everything, delivering the app right over the internet to you. Good old webmail is your classic SaaS example.
Next up, we have the 4 cloud deployment models. First, a public cloud. This is offered to the general public over the internet. Think AWS or Google Cloud. A private cloud, on the other hand, is dedicated to a single organization, giving their security admin total ultimate control. Then you've got a hybrid cloud, which, as you might guess, mixes the two. It keeps the super sensitive data on premises while offloading the everyday tasks to the public cloud. Finally, a community cloud is shared by multiple organizations that have common goals. Here's your exam clue. If a scenario mentions a hospital needing strict HIPAA regulatory compliance, the best answer is almost always a private cloud.
Now, there are 2 specific cloud characteristics that test takers mix up all the time: rapid elasticity and measured service. Rapid elasticity is simply the ability to scale your network resources out quickly and efficiently whenever demand suddenly spikes. Measured service, though, means the cloud provider is actively monitoring the exact services you use so they can bill you correctly for them. Don't fall into the trap of confusing measured service with metered utilization. They sound similar, but they're very different concepts on the test.
Let's shift gears and translate all this theory into real-world hardware troubleshooting. CompTIA hardware questions literally always follow a symptom-first structure. So, if a PC has absolutely zero power, the trap is jumping straight to replacing the power supply. Nope. The best first step, check the wall outlet. Seriously. What if a PC is running incredibly slow? Well, before you assume the hard drive is dying, check the task manager for any rogue background processes eating up memory. And if a PC just randomly shuts down from overheating, always check the ventilation and clean out the dust first.
Moving on to motherboards and displays. If you get a totally blank screen and hear beeps during the power on self-test, the post, it almost always points to a motherboard or RAM issue. But what's the actual fix? Well, the best first step is to consult the vendor documentation so you can translate that specific beep code. And then try reseating the RAM. Or what if you're dealing with continuous reboots? Again, question the obvious. Check to see if a recent driver or OS update was just installed before you start ripping hardware out of the case.
Okay, storage and drive rescues. If you ever walk up to a machine and hear loud clicking or grinding noises coming from it, yeah, you are listening to the mechanical click of death. A failed drive is absolutely imminent. The exam might also mention SMART errors. That's self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology, which are basically red alerts predicting a drive failure. In both of these cases, before you run any diagnostics, before you even think about opening the case, the absolute best first step is to back up that user's data immediately. Do not pass go, just back up the data.
All right, let's put all this knowledge to the test. Time for exam simulation number 1. Let's bring back that question from earlier. You turn on a PC, it has power, but the screen is completely blank and you hear a series of 3 beeps. What is the most likely issue and what is your very first step? Take a second. Think about the troubleshooting logic we just talked about.
Got it? The answer is a motherboard or RAM issue. The trap they try to get you with here is an answer choice that says replace the motherboard. Don't do it. That violates our whole troubleshooting methodology. The best first step is to actually consult the motherboard documentation to identify what that specific beep code means, and then try the simplest physical fix first, which is reseating the RAM.
Okay, let's try exam simulation number 2. A company needs a cloud service where their developers can build and test web applications. But, and this is key, they do not want to manage the underlying servers or the operating systems themselves. So which cloud service model is the absolute best fit for this scenario?
The crucial clue here is the word developers. The correct answer is PaaS, Platform as a Service. The sneaky trap is choosing IaaS. Remember, if you choose Infrastructure as a Service, you are still on the hook for installing, patching, and managing that operating system. PaaS abstracts all of that annoying OS stuff away so your developers can just sit down and code. All right, here we go. The final boss question. Exam Simulation 3. A user calls and reports that their desktop PC just randomly shuts down right in the middle of the day. You suspect it's an overheating issue. According to the CompTIA troubleshooting methodology, what is the best first step? And the answer is, check the ventilation, look for dust buildup, and make sure the fans are actually spinning. The trap answer they'll throw at you is reapply thermal paste to the CPU. Now, while thermal paste might eventually be the ultimate fix, CompTIA's symptom-first structure demands that you start with the simplest, most obvious physical checks first. Establish your theory. Don't take a PC apart until you've at least checked the fans.
So let's take all this and build your final Core 1 rapid review checklist. Actually, you know what? Let's make this a high-energy, rapid-fire lightning round to really test your instincts. We're going to run through 12 more quick scenarios to get us to 15 total. Ready? Let's go. Question 4, printer paper jam. The trap is pulling the paper forcefully. Best step, check the rollers and clear the path gently. Question 5, user has a 192.244 IP address. That's API. It means your DHCP server's down. Question 6, can't reach a website by name, but you can by its IP address. That's a classic DNS failure. Question 7, poor Wi-Fi signal in just one corner of the office. Check for physical interference. Question 8, complete sudden loss of network connectivity. Check for a physical cable issue first. Question 9, device keeps joining a super slow network. Go in and forget the wrong SSID. Question 10, printer has power but isn't printing. Clear out the print queue. Question 11, monitor is completely blank but the PC is definitely on. Check the display cable connection. Question 12, need to keep patient data perfectly secure but offload generic tasks. Hybrid cloud. Question 13, multiple universities sharing resources. Community cloud. Question 14, you see a smart error.
back up the data immediately. And question 15. Post beeps, motherboard or RAM. Always identify the problem and question the obvious before you start changing things.
Whew, okay, you now have the foundational tools. You know exactly how to spot those tricky exam traps, and you understand the underlying logic required to find the absolute best answer. Keep practicing these kinds of scenarios and just trust that 6-step methodology. It works. But I'll leave you with this one final thought. The cloud might just be someone else's computer, but the responsibility of keeping your users connected to it, that is entirely yours. When the ultimate system failure happens, will you be the hero who knows exactly how to fix it?
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Good luck with your CompTIA A+ Core 1 exam.